What about it? In today's video, we're going to be leveling this very bumpy lawn.
And it is in partnership with Moja, but more on that later.
Welcome back. So our first step, we're going to get the grass cut. I want to do this here because the grass is quite long at the minute, and whenever we cut the grass down, so today we're going to scalp it down a bit so as we can see the humps and hollows in the lawn. Jason's going to give it a second cut here so as we can really properly see those humps and hollows. So we're going to scalp it down a bit shorter than what we usually would. So our first step is aeration. I'm going to do this here to remove these cords. Aeration now complete. So for any of the beginners watching the channel, welcome to the channel. Just going to give a quick explanation of why we aerate lawns. So on the top you can see our little tuft. We've actually got some moss, and then oh, that bit's a bit ragged, and then here with this organic layer and some roots. Whenever we squeeze that together, that's quite bouncy, and then we'll have our soil. Now we aerate lawns primarily to let air down into the soil and to remove that thatch layer. Now some new people to lawn care might say, why don't you use these cores to fill in the lawn? And you could use cores to fill in the lawn, however you would have to let them rot down for at least 6 months to get rid of this bit here. If we fill the lawn full of these, then what would happen is whenever this rotted down, it would all sink. Scarfan now complete, happy days. We'll do this just to pull out moss and thatch. All this really is just a build-up of organic material. You can see some moss and some thatch in it. Your lawn naturally creates this over time. So now our next step is to get this cleared up, and we'll start to see the humps and hollows in the lawn. Before we start the top dressing and leveling, we have a couple of more steps to go. So let's get the seed on. So at the minute, Jason's putting on our seed. Today we're using a dwarf rye and a fescue, which is going to make a really nice finish on the lawn. So if you have a look at the soil, you can see the lines created from the Scarfan, and what you find is the seed grows into those lines, and then it grows. If you come back to this lawn at a later date, you would see all the seed growing out of those lines.
Before we throw any topsoil down or dirt for our American friends, we'll need to know the size of the garden and how deep some of those hollows are. And luckily we have Moja to help us do that. We can plot the perimeter and also plot cross section across the garden to pinpoint the highs and lows in your lawn. So this is the brains of the Moja Pro 2. This device is fantastic and very accurate. We're using this to work out how much soil we need for this lawn, but if you were doing a lawn where you needed to replace some with sod, you could work out exactly how much you needed. Or if you were doing flower beds, if you were pulling out flower beds, for example, and you wanted to put bark in them all, you could work out how many bags of bark you needed with leaving minimal wastage. So here you can see the garden mapped, but let me show you how we got here. So now I've mapped the perimeter, and now we're going to map points across the lawn to find the highs and lows. One of the hardest things with filling hollows in a lawn is working out how much soil or dirt you need. Luckily, with this device, the Mojo, we can work out, well, it works out for us how much in meter cubes of soil we need to fill in those divots. So for this yard, what tells us that we need to fill about 2.08 meter cubed. So today, we're not completely leveling the lawn all the way across, we're just filling out the big humps and hollows. And this has given us a really good idea of how much dirt or topsoil we need. Now, if you like the sound of this device and you want to get your hands on one, get in the description. There's a link there along with a discount code. Now let's get this lawn top dressed.
So the material I'm using today, we're not using anything fancy like root zone. This is just straight topsoil, although it's pretty good. You can see there it's nice and crumbly. I just got this from a local builder's mart, so I'm going to give them a wee shout out, Eglantine Timber, because they keep it inside, and then that means whenever we get it, it's really nice to work with and it fills in the holes really well. It's a really good, cheap, effective way to fill in the holes in your lawn. Anytime you're filling in holes in your lawn, you want to fill in a bit and then stand it down and then put more in. If you just put a big pile down and then stand it down, you're never going to compact it down, and after that it's probably going to sink on you over time.
So with this type of soil, you're always going to get stones in this, and the best place for them, flower bed right next to you.
We'll have the low spots filled in, you can see. I wouldn't say that the lawn's 100% level. According to Moser, we needed 2 cubic meters, we only used about 1. Now we do have some of this soil here that we're going to use, but this is more just to get the seed off to a good start. Now our next task is we're going to have a cup of tea, but then after that, we're going to start seeding these out. We already have the seed down over the majority of the lawn, so we're just going to seed the areas that with soil, because we'll put too much soil down on top of those areas.
Now we've got the humps and hollows filled, time to get onto the top dressing. So that's all the soil down. We're going to leave it for a while to dry out so it's easier to mat in. So let's go tidy the tools away. Now we've let that dry out a bit, time to get the drag mat out and mat it in. So the reason we're doing this is to get good seed to soil contact, and it also helps level out the soil that we put down as well. Final stages is seaweed and iron onto your lawn. If you've enjoyed watching this video, head over here to see another leveling lawn video.